I've been asked to tell you a little bit about the Frye Foundation perspective on indirect costs and overhead. And one of my points is to explain that those two things are not at all the same. When we review proposals, it's kind of, as Anne had said, if administrative expenses look like they're missing or that they're really too small, we actually ask the grantees to check their budgets and to amend them if they're appropriate. And so just to repeat the first point, if you want the expenses covered, you have to put them into your proposed budget. Second point, indirect costs are not the same as administrative overhead. So indirect generally refers to a lot of fixed costs as opposed to variable, but things like rent, utilities, office supplies, technology. So these are not general administrative or overhead costs. These are program costs, and they absolutely should be in all of your program budgets. It's impossible to run a program without these expenses, and they all need to be allocated across all of your programs as appropriate. So third, an effective program and its budget includes things like staff training, professional development, all the things that are necessary to keep up on the latest research and to understand best practices. If you're not training your staff, then you're probably not having a very effective program. And if you train your staff, then those expenses should be in your program budgets. A program budget also should include technology upgrades, and they should include costs for monitoring and assessing program outcomes. This conversation today is a really important beginning, but it really needs to go far beyond a discussion about overhead. An overhead rate, as everybody has said, is not a meaningful measure of very much. It's not a measure of effectiveness, and it's really not even a measure of efficiency. So I tend to think that talking about overhead is almost a distraction. The conversation really needs to get to how to allocate costs in a meaningful way, in a way that provides insight into the efficiency of programs, the effectiveness of scarce resources, and in a way that really helps us understand what kinds of outcomes are we getting from society's investments. And so that's the conversation we all need to move into.